Captain America Civil War and the War on the Unvaccinated. This talk will focus on the Captain America Civil War movie and how one of its themes relates to a situation unfolding in our country right now concerning the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. This movie pits Captain America and his choice not to sign away his freedom to the Sokovia Accords against Iron Man, who signs his freedom away believing that it is for the greater good. I will show the parallel between the movie's key characters and what they represent in our world. The war. If the president and federal government came out and mandated that every wealthy American must surrender half of their wealth to do their part to fix the public health poverty crisis, do you think it could start a war? If the president and the federal government came out and mandated that every American with 2 or more homes must surrender them to help fix the public health housing crisis, do you think it could start a war? If the president and federal government came out and mandated that every American must take this vaccine regardless of choice, do you think it will start a war? The vaccinated have exercised their choice to take the vaccine into their bodies, and now the government wants to force those who have chosen not to take the vaccine. This is what is happening right now. The government is using fear pushed by the media and force through the corporate and business mandates, as well as the newly enacted federal mandates, to try and inject all Americans with these vaccines. Why? Captain America, Steve Rogers. In this movie, Captain America represents the freedom to choose. He represents the individual's right to sovereignty over their own person, and the defender of those who have had their choice taken from them. So in our world, Captain America represents the unvaccinated, who must, at this moment, resist those who are trying to take the sovereignty over their own bodies away through government and business mandates nationwide. Iron Man, Tony Stark. Iron Man represents the viewpoint that the greater good will be achieved by surrendering his freedom to choose, and so doing becomes a middleman enforcer for the government agenda. In our world, he represents the corporate and business interests acting as enforcer of mandates from the government authorities, and vaccinated individuals who now see their unvaccinated countrymen as a threat due to the lies and fear from the news media. This viewpoint could lead to conflict and catastrophe. General Thaddeus Ross, U.S. Secretary of State. This character represents the government agenda being brought down on the Avengers to force them to comply with the Sokovia Accords by surrendering their freedom, retire, or face prison. Those who sign the Accords become puppets under the mandates of the government panel and enforcers against their fellow Avengers that refuse to sign away their freedom to choose. In our world, General Ross represents the government agenda as well, to vaccinate all Americans regardless of their choice. And we see the government agencies using all manner of force and coercion on the businesses and corporations to enforce its will to vaccinate all Americans through corporate and business mandates. The Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. Captain America's longtime friend and the main target of the government agenda. In this movie, the Winter Soldier is framed and set up, and we see he represents someone who has had his choice completely taken from him due to intense brainwashing. It's revealed toward the end of the movie that he killed Tony Stark's parents, though not in control of his own actions. And because of this, Captain America comes to his defense. In our world, this character represents the children. When this pandemic started, the media began saying that the children are a threat to their older parents and grandparents because the children would carry the virus to their families and kill them. So the children were viewed as a threat. And now the media is saying the children must be protected from the unvaccinated, and that the unvaccinated are a threat to society. Vision, also called the vision. Vision represents a higher understanding, a higher level of thought, almost godlike, when he descends on the Avengers and says to Captain America and his allies who refused to sign the Accords, "Captain Rogers, I know you believe what you are doing is right, but for the collective good, you must surrender now." But Vision, like Iron Man, is being used as an enforcer for the government agenda, an agenda that will turn on all of the Avengers that signed away their right to choose. In our world, Vision represents the experts, the doctors, scientists, intellectuals, professionals, and the moral authorities, many of whom are now saying that the unvaccinated must forfeit their freedom to choose what is put into their own bodies for the greater good of society, and that the unvaccinated are a threat to humanity. We've seen in the past military experts tell us that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. We've seen in the past the financial experts tell us the fundamentals of the economy is strong before the devastating 2008 crash. And now the medical experts are having their time. And already we see many of the things we are being told is not true. Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Black Widow represents a middle-of-the-road approach to the Sokovia Accords. Although she signs, she believes those that did not sign must not have their choice taken from them, and quickly sees the orders from the government agenda is not right, and helps Captain America and his ally escape. To me, she is the key character in the Civil War movie, for her wisdom, foresight, and instincts to change sides and defend the choice of those that did not sign. In our world, she represents those who have exercised their choice to be vaccinated, but who must now help to defend the rights of those who choose not to be vaccinated. All around the world, there are unvaccinated people protesting to not have their lives and livelihoods turned upside down by mandates, backing them into a corner, with much of the media not even mentioning the protests at all. Many Black Widows will be needed to help protect the liberty of us all. Helmut Zemo, also called Baron Zemo. This character represents a shadowy threat in the background of the story, orchestrating and manipulating Iron Man and Captain America into conflict with each other so that they tear the Avengers apart, which is exactly what happens. At the end of this movie, Zemo is in prison, but not before causing a major conflict, and some of the Avengers to be arrested, and causing some to flee from being captured. In our world, this character represents the deception and censorship of our media system, leading to a great number of uninformed Americans turning on each other over these vaccine mandates, causing families to break off from each other, causing friendships to end, causing colleagues to be pitted against each other. There are more and more stories like this coming in from around the country, and we see more and more data about the continual spread by the vaccinated. But the media still continues to push false narratives. All-out war. This is what we must avoid. But when these vaccines are approved by the FDA, we could see another level of mandates brought down on the unvaccinated that threatens their jobs, their ability to buy food, their ability to bank, and their ability to engage in society, backing them into a corner of life and death. It is at this moment when all-out war will begin. It is my hope that every American will choose freedom and liberty, not fear and mandate. Thank you.